Beloved friends, let us open our eyes to a truth that many miss, yet it is as plain as sunlight. Money is not earned by struggle alone, it is a flow, a divine current that must be directed with understanding and wisdom. Many of you work tirelessly, climb the ladder, and receive a handsome salary, yet at the end of the month, you find yourself wondering, where did it all go? The system is designed not to enrich you, but to keep you chained in a cycle of earning and spending, of wanting more yet feeling you have less. You see, the salary itself is an illusion of security. It whispers promises of safety, yet it binds you in invisible chains. These chains are not forged from your employer's will alone. They are created by your own acceptance of the system's rules, by the belief that work alone brings prosperity. You must understand, abundance is not a matter of labor, it is a matter of law, spiritual law. Money responds to your belief, your thought, your expectation. If you unconsciously tell the world, I am never enough, or I must work hard to survive, the universe answers with conditions, restrictions, and limitations. Consider this, no matter how high your income, if you spend as fast as you earn, the cycle never ends. You may receive a $10,000, $20,000, or even $50,000 paycheck, yet your bills, your desires, your obligations rise to meet it. The system has trained you to believe that more income will solve your problems, when in truth, more income without awareness only deepens the trap. You are like a jar with a hole at the bottom. You can fill it endlessly, yet it never overflows. But there is a way to step free, and it is not by laboring harder. It is by changing the law that governs your money life. First, recognize that money is intelligence, energy, and life. Speak to it with gratitude, honor it, and give it direction. Second, become aware of the patterns you follow, the impulse spending, the debt, the unquestioned obligations. These are agreements made long ago, often unconsciously, that keep you tethered to limitation. Third, understand the power of imagination. Visualize your money working for you, multiplying for you, flowing to you with ease. When you see it in mind first, it must manifest in form. The salary trap is a test, a lesson, an invitation to awaken to your mastery. You are not meant to live as a servant to numbers, nor as a prisoner of a system built to limit you. You are a creator, a magnet for prosperity, and the universe responds with miraculous intelligence when you align your thoughts and words with the truth that abundance is your divine right. Release the fear that tells you you must earn endlessly. Release the belief that your worth is measured in hours or titles. Begin now to see money not as an object to chase, but as a loyal servant to your clear and conscious will. Speak words of affirmation that claim your freedom and your flow. Imagine, as if already done, a life of ease, joy, and financial mastery. With each declaration, each visual, each act of conscious control, the salary trap loosens its grip. Friends, the doors to true abundance are not outside of you. They are within your thought, your faith, and your expectation. Step boldly into the knowledge that you are not bound by a paycheck, a job, or a system. You are boundless, powerful, and deserving of prosperity without struggle. Let this be your moment to awaken, to speak, and to claim the wealth that flows naturally when you recognize it as your divine inheritance. Many believe that the moment they step into a high-paying position, financial freedom automatically follows, as though the mere number in a paycheck can unlock doors to abundance. This is one of the most subtle illusions of our age, for the system has trained the mind to equate income with security, and security with peace, when in truth, wealth is far deeper than the figures on a bank statement. A high salary, no matter how generous, is only a reflection of labor or position. It does not guarantee liberation from the invisible currents of want. Those who are caught in the salary trap live in constant motion, earning and spending yet feeling no closer to the ease and freedom that true wealth provides. They are like hamsters on a wheel, running faster and faster, while the wheel turns beneath them, going nowhere. The illusion begins with education and culture. From childhood, many are taught that to succeed is to secure a good job, to climb the corporate ladder, to increase one's income as if it were the ultimate measure of achievement. The mind accepts this narrative as truth, and the heart unconsciously aligns itself to obey. As the paychecks grow, so too do the desires, obligations, and societal expectations. The very act of earning more awakens new bills, new responsibilities, and new pressures. The system conspires subtly. As one income rises, the expenditures rise to match it. There is a psychological tendency to adjust one's lifestyle in tandem with earning, and this, my friends, is the mechanism of the salary trap. Those who earn 100,000 may find themselves living as though they earn 50,000, and those who earn 50,000 may believe they are still poor. The mind interprets money in the language of comparison and fear, and so, no matter how much is received, the feeling of insufficiency remains. It is not the income itself that creates limitati. It is the belief about money and the unconscious habits that accompany earning. One may earn a high salary, yet feel imprisoned by debt, habit, or fear. The system teaches that consumption is a measure of worth, that prestige is earned through spending, and that financial safety comes through accumulation of liabilities disguised as necessities. Consider how many receive bonuses or raises only to find their credit card statements swollen, their obligations multiplied, their sense of freedom diminished. The more money comes in, the more it flows out, and the cycle repeats endlessly. True wealth does not obey the rules of labor alone. It obeys the rules of consciousness, intention, and alignment with the natural laws of prosperity. High income without awareness is like a river contained within a narrow channel. The water flows, and one may marvel at the speed and volume, yet the river does not nourish the land. It rushes past, contained and limited by unseen walls. If one does not consciously widen the banks, the water cannot flood the fields of life. It cannot irrigate the gardens of joy, abundance, and security. The salary, no matter how large, is merely the flow. It is the consciousness and intention that determines whether that flow nourishes or evaporates. It is here that so many falter. They equate the flow with wealth, failing to understand that true abundance requires direction, respect, and stewardship. Look closely at those who seem wealthy yet are trapped in the same cycles of worry as the middle class. They often earn far more than their peers, yet they live in tension, always seeking the next opportunity, the next raise, the next promotion. They may have mansions, luxury cars, and designer clothes, yet underneath, there is an inner sense of lack. Why? Because money, like energy, is neutral and obedient only to thought, intention, and understanding. A high salary is simply a measure of energy received. Without conscious alignment, it is spent as quickly as it arrives, leaving the mind and heart unchanged. True wealth, however, is a state of consciousness in which money serves rather than dictates, in which abundance is recognized as an ever-present current that can be directed to enhance life rather than become a source of bondage. The system, in its subtle genius, trains the mind to focus on accumulation as proof of success. Advertisements, peer comparison, cultural expectations, all reinforce the idea that more is better, and that if one is earning less than one's peers, one is somehow failing. This creates a constant tension, a relentless drive to earn more, not for freedom, but to keep pace with the illusions of social expectation. High income, therefore, becomes a treadmill, and many mistake the speed of their running for progress. They believe that more is the answer, that more hours, more effort, and more responsibility will eventually translate into peace, when the reality is quite the opposite. More money without understand. Ing is merely a faster rotation of the wheel of the salary trap. The first step to liberation is awareness, to see the difference between income and wealth, between labor and flow, between security and enslavement. To understand that true financial freedom does not come from working harder or climbing higher, but from mastering the principles that govern money. Money is attracted to clear thought, to focused intention, to gratitude, and to belief in sufficiency. The high earner who understands these laws finds that less work may bring more prosperity, and that wealth is measured not by the paycheck, but by the ease, joy, and freedom it produces. It is also essential to examine the habits that accompany a high salary. Many believe that spending proportionally to income is natural, yet it is a habit that binds the soul. Luxury, status, debt, overextension. These are the chains that the salary trap forges. One must consciously direct funds with awareness, cultivating the skill of letting money serve rather than control. Through discipline, visualization, and conscious affirmation, the high earner can break the cycle, transforming a large paycheck from a source of stress into a vehicle of freedom. Another aspect to consider is the law of mental correspondence. The outer world is a reflection of the inner state. A high salary cannot compensate for a mind steeped in fear, lack, or doubt. If one believes secretly that wealth is difficult, that one must struggle endlessly to keep it, that abundance is only for others, the paycheck will reflect that belief. Thus, earning more without inner alignment does not create freedom. It merely magnifies existing patterns. It is far better to cultivate a consciousness of abundance, gratitude, and right expectation than to rely on income alone. The universe responds to thought, word, and vision, and those who understand this law experience the flow of prosperity regardless of their external circumstances. High income not equal to true wealth. Wealth is a condition of consciousness, a state in which money flows freely, serves joyfully, and multiplies effortlessly. The salary is merely a tool, a measure of energy, a token of exchange. Without wisdom, it can become a chain. With wisdom, it becomes wings. The salary trap is a test, a mirror reflecting the state of the mind, and those who awaken to this truth find that their resources, their opportunities, and their peace expand far beyond the limitations of any paycheck. Many walk through life believing that money, opportunity, and success are external forces beyond their control, yet the truth is far more empowering. Your financial reality, no matter how challenging it appears, is a direct reflection of your inner thoughts, beliefs, and spoken words. The mind is the seedbed of all creation, and consciousness is the fertile soil from which abundance grows. If you believe scarcity, worry, or limitation, then even the highest salary cannot bring freedom. It will only magnify the saint. Ruggle already seated in your mind. The universe does not argue, it does not debate, it simply manifests what is held in the imagination and spoken by the tongue. Every thought you nurture, every word you speak, is a command to the invisible, and the invisible responds without delay, with perfect accuracy, in accordance with law. The subtlety of this principle is that many are unaware of the messages they send. Thoughts of "I will never have enough," "money is so hard to come by," or "I must work endlessly to survive," are quietly whispered commands that shape experience. The mind, like a faithful servant, brings to form exactly what is imagined, often in ways that feel inevitable. You may receive a raise, a promotion, or an unexpected bonus, yet if your consciousness is rooted in lack, the momentary increase is swallowed by old habits, unwise spending, or new obligations. Belief shapes perception, and perception shapes action, and action in turn shapes circumstances. The cycle is unbroken until the thought patterns themselves are recognized, understood, and consciously altered. Affirmation, visualization, and gratitude are the tools of mastery. When you speak of money with fear or tension, it recoils. When you speak of it with faith, expectation, and clarity, it moves toward you like a loyal servant. Your words, both spoken and unspoken, are the architects of your reality. Consider how often one complains about bills, debt, or lack. These complaints, even whispered under breath, are confirmations to the invisible that scarcity is real, that limitation is the law, and that struggle is permanent. Conversely, the conscious declaration of abundance, the envisioning of money flowing freely, and the gratitude for all that has already come, sends a magnetic signal to life itself, attracting wealth, opportunity, and ease. The mind is not a passive recorder. It is a powerful instrument of creation. Those who understand this principle do not wait for opportunity, they command it. They do not chase money, they invite it. They do not hope for success, they see it as already accomplished. Belief is not mere wishful thinking, it is the certainty that the universe operates under perfect law, that abundance is limitless, and that your word, aligned with vision, can move mountains. To cultivate this certainty, one must begin by observing the habitual thoughts that dominate consciousness. Are they thoughts of fear, comparison, or lack? Or are they thoughts of possibility, gratitude, and expectancy? For what dominates the mind manifests in life, inevitably, as surely as the seed becomes tree when planted in the right soil. Visualization is the next step. Picture the life you desire in precise, living detail. See the money not as a concept, but as a tangible force flowing freely into your hands, enriching not only your life but the lives of others. Feel the ease, the joy, and the freedom as if already experienced. The invisible world responds not to wish but to clarity. It is not enough to hope. One must see, speak, and feel the reality as already accomplished. Thoughts combined with feeling are magnets, drawing to themselves the events, circumstances, and people that correspond to the vision held. Those who master this law do not toil endlessly, for they understand that life itself is the workman and the servant of belief. Equally important is the spoken word. What is spoken aloud carries energy and commands powerfully. Speak fear, and fear will answer. Speak lack, and lack will appear. Speak abundance, and abundance flows in obedience to law. Many fail to recognize how casual speech shapes their circumstances, how offhand remarks about difficulty or limitation are tiny seeds that grow into towering obstacles. The wise person watches words as carefully as thoughts, knowing that every declaration carries the power to build or destroy, to attract or repel. By consciously choosing words that affirm prosperity, one aligns the outer world with inner conviction, creating a seamless path for abundance to manifest. Belief and thought also shape decision-making and action. When one truly believes in the infinite intelligence of the universe and in one's own worthiness to receive, hesitation, doubt, and fear dissolve. Action becomes inspired rather than compelled, effortless rather than stressful. Opportunities are recognized because the mind is alert to possibilities. Risks are taken wisely because confidence is rooted in law, not hope. Those who live in this state are not slaves to circumstance. They are masters of circumstance, commanding the currents of life with thought, word, and vision. Conversely, those who act from fear or uncertainty are like sailors adrift without a compass, relying on wind and tide, subject to every storm. Gratitude is the amplifier of thought. To be grateful for what is already present, no matter how small, expands consciousness and attracts more to be grateful for. It is the secret that transforms ordinary income into wealth, ordinary opportunity into abundance. Gratitude tells the universe, I recognize the flow of life, I honor it, and I am prepared to receive more. It is not a passive emotion but an active magnet, drawing to itself blessings that thought alone cannot summon. Those who cultivate gratitude in thought, word, and feeling find that money, opportunity, and freedom are not distant rewards, but immediate realities, appearing in the right time, in the right form, and in perfect measure. Many fear that to believe in abundance is selfish or unrealistic, yet the law is impartial. It responds to all thoughts with perfect precision. To harbor doubt, fear, or disbelief is to invite limitation. To embrace faith, clarity, and expectation is to summon flow. The high earner trapped in a cycle of stress or worry can transform their life instantly, not by earning more, but by changing thought patterns. The invisible world, obedient to law, responds to the inner shift first. Then, the outer circumstances follow. Those who see money as a reflection of consciousness, rather than an object of struggle, find that abundance multiplies effortlessly, creating a life of freedom, joy, and opportunity. The power of belief and conscious thought is not a theory. It is a law as reliable as gravity. It operates whether recognized or not, and ignorance of it brings struggle, while awareness of it brings mastery. To master this law, one must watch thoughts, choose words, cultivate gratitude, and visualize with clarity. One must hold a deep inner knowing that abundance is natural, that money flows freely, and that one is deserving of every blessing. This is the secret of those who rise above the salary trap, who are not enslaved by circumstance, and who live lives of effortless prosperity, knowing that the outer world is only a mirror of the inner kingdom. The first step toward liberation from the salary trap is awareness, a clear seeing of the patterns, habits, and beliefs that have unconsciously bound one to limitation. Many labor diligently, climbing the corporate ladder, earning high incomes, yet they do not pause to observe the invisible chains that govern their lives. These chains are formed of habitual thought, unquestioned assumptions, and unconscious agreements with the system that says, you must earn endlessly, spend freely, and always seek more to feel secure. Awareness is the light that illuminates these patterns, revealing where the flow of abundance has been blocked, diverted, or misunderstood. When one becomes aware, the mind awakens from a state of sleepwalking, recognizing that freedom is not earned through struggle alone, but through conscious alignment with the laws that govern prosperity. To become aware, one must first examine the flow of life as it exists now. Observe where money goes, what emotions arise in its presence, and what invisible scripts guide behavior. Many spend habitually, not consciously, surrendering energy to patterns established long ago. Debt is often accepted as normal, bills as inevitable, and scarcity as a natural condition. Yet these are not truths. They are reflections of thought, belief, and prior agreements that can be altered at any moment. Awareness is the noticing, the gentle, non-judgmental observation of one's own consciousness. It is the realization that every outward condition, every paycheck, every expense, every financial tension, is a mirror of inner thought. Without this clarity, the cycle continues endlessly, and the illusion of a high income becomes a gilded cage rather than a vehicle of freedom. Once awareness is cultivated, alignment follows. Alignment is the conscious attuning of thought, word, and action to the flow of abundance. It is the recognition that money is not earned by labor alone but attracted through conscious, deliberate harmony with universal law. This alignment begins with thought. Thoughts of lack, struggle, and limitation must be replaced with thoughts of sufficiency, expectation, and divine provision. The mind is like a tuning fork, resonating to the dominant thought. If the tone is fear or scarcity, the results will reflect the same. If the tone is faith, clarity, and openness to abundance, the world responds with opportunities, resources, and experiences that reflect this inner state. Alignment is the marriage of awareness with deliberate, focused thought, the understanding that consciousness shapes circumstance in every detail. Word, too, is a powerful instrument in alignment. Many are unaware that casual speech about money, work, or limitation carries authority over life. To speak complaints, doubts, or fears is to issue commands to the invisible world that reinforce restriction. To speak affirmations, declarations, and visions of abundance is to issue commands that invite prosperity to take form. Words, like seeds, grow according to the soil in which they are planted. Alignment requires choosing words carefully, with attention, care, and faith, ensuring that speech reflects the reality one desires rather than the scarcity one fears. Action is the final element of alignment. While thought and word shape the invisible, action shapes the visible. However, action inspired by alignment is effortless and intelligent, unlike action born of fear, struggle, or compulsion. The aligned person does not chase money or struggle for security. They act in accordance with inner guidance, seizing opportunities that resonate with their vision, and releasing activities that drain energy or reinforce limitation. Alignment does not require overwork, overthinking, or endless striving. It requires right action, inspired by inner clarity, faith, and expectation. The universe moves to meet those who act in harmony with its laws, creating a life of ease, flow, and abundance. Another vital aspect of breaking free is releasing old agreements and patterns. Many have unconsciously consented to limitations imposed by family, culture, or society. These may include beliefs that money is difficult, that one must labor endlessly to survive, or that wealth is reserved for others. To awaken is to release these agreements with love, forgiveness, and clarity. One does not fight the past. One acknowledges it, learns from it, and consciously steps into a new alignment. This release is like opening a dam, allowing the river of abundance to flow freely where it had been blocked by unseen walls of thought and habit. Visualization and imagination are powerful tools in this process. To imagine money and resources flowing easily, to see opportunity appearing, to feel the joy of financial freedom as if it is already present, is to train the mind and heart to accept abundance as natural and inevitable. The law responds to what is imagined and felt with intensity. Many fail to realize that the unseen is more potent than the seen. By holding clear, consistent mental pictures of prosperity, the aligned individual sets in motion currents that manifest in the physical world with perfect precision. This is the secret that separates those trapped in the treadmill of salary from those who experience effortless, multiplying wealth. Gratitude amplifies alignment. When one expresses appreciation for what is already present, even in small amounts, the flow expands. Gratitude is not passive, it is an active signal to life that one recognizes, values, and welcomes the abundance already moving toward them. It opens the mind to receive more, removes resistance, and transforms ordinary income into a magnet for greater resources. Many overlook gratitude, thinking it is secondary to action or ambition, yet it is the cornerstone of alignment, the fertile soil in which all prosperity takes root and flourishes. Breaking free also requires the cultivation of discernment. One must learn to distinguish between necessity and indulgence, between inspired opportunity and superficial desire. Alignment is not the reckless pursuit of wealth. It is the intelligent direction of energy, time, and attention toward what serves life, joy, and growth. The high earner who aligns with law does not accumulate endlessly or overextend. They channel resources wisely, allowing money to serve rather than consume, and in doing so, they create a cycle of multiplication and freedom that transcends salary alone. Faith is the invisible foundation of all alignment. To trust in the flow of life, to believe in one's worthiness to receive, to expect abundance as a natural state, is to plant a seed that will grow beyond limitations imposed by circumstance. Doubt and fear are weeds. Faith is the sun and water that nourish the garden of prosperity. Those who cultivate unwavering faith, combined with awareness, right thought, and deliberate action, experience life as a series of miracles, each aligned with their vision, each reflecting the law of abundance at work. The salary trap is not external, it is a reflection of internal misalignment. The high-income individual who feels trapped is not a victim of circumstance, but a master whose mastery has yet to be exercised consciously. By becoming aware of thought patterns, habits, and unconscious agreements, by aligning mind, word, and action with the law of abundance, by visualizing, speaking, and feeling the reality of prosperity, one steps from limitation into freedom. The flow of money, opportunities, and joy responds instantly to this alignment, providing not only resources, but also the sense of ease, empowerment, and mastery that true wealth brings. Breaking free is a journey of consciousness. A shift from living reactively within a system to living creatively in harmony with divine law. Awareness illuminates the unseen chains, alignment dissolves them, and the flow of life responds in accordance with the clarity, intention, and expectancy now present. Those who understand this law no longer measure their worth by salary, position, or external markers. They recognize that true prosperity is the harmony between inner consciousness and outer reality, the marriage of thought, word, and action, the conscious directing of the invisible to manifest, freedom, joy, and abundance effortlessly.